automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles about spiritual advancement rather than just practicing religion for material benefit, which are the rituals. Such an inquisitive and then it's not that he is seeking for it. He's not trying, he automatically becomes attracted. For some people who have not practiced yoga in their previous lives, then it takes some time to raise their consciousness from material attachments and desires to being attracted to yogic principles. But someone who has already done it in their previous lives, then they join and immediately they are attracted to Krishna consciousness, to chanting, doing spiritual practices, and doing services. I mean, they seem to progress very easily. How is it? Because they've done something in their previous lives. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. Aho batasva pacho to gariyan ya jivvagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhuvu sasnuraryam brahmanuchur nama grinanti ye te. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakura Haridasa as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakura Haridasa happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. This 300,000 names is equal to 192 rounds or malas of Hare Krishna mantra. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life, he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, known as Shabda Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna. So, because Hare Krishna is directly Krishna himself, and to associate with him means that we have to get purified, where we have to have some interest in spiritual life, some spiritual, identification that I'm not this body, I'm the soul, something we have to have by which, we are attracted to the spiritual principles and not just satisfied of doing, okay, many people say, no, I'm also doing a lot of pujas, homas, I visit the temple, I don't need to do chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. And how much ever we try to convince, why don't you do this, try it out and all that, but they're not attracted because they're satisfied with material sense gratification. Okay, I will go to Krishna, I'll go to God and I'll do some pujas and that much is enough for me. So it'll take them some more births. But of course, devotees don't let them hanging like that. They try to purify them by this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method of giving them prasadam, make them hear Hare Krishna mantra. Even during, we do kirtans so that they hear that. And then we also distribute books so that they read and try to understand the philosophy. And yet we see there are some people who are, immediately attracted. They hear the holy names, they hear a little katha, a philosophy, Krishna consciousness, they take the prasadam, they see the devotees, and they're very attracted. Immediately they want to come. Yes, I'm very interested. and they become regular. So that means they have already done some purificatory things. And so now they're ready to go to the highest method of, connecting with God. And of course, it's not that you have to have done something in your previous life. No, it doesn't mean that, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his mercy even to the most. In fact, he gave mercy first to the most fallen people. So even if somebody has not done anything in their previous lives, somehow they're very fortunate, and some devotee tries to give him mercy, and they are open-minded. Okay, let me try it out. Maybe I have never done anything pious in my life. So let me see how this works. And even like that, they get the mercy, and then they can progress. So that is what Prabhupada said, because he went to the West, and most of them have never heard even about the name of Krishna and Rama. So what pious activities would they have done? They were never visited any holy places or did any tapasya, nothing. But because of the association of a pure devotee, he convinced them about the futility of, just catering to your material needs. Yeah, animals are also doing that. You're also doing that. What is the difference? And in this way, and also by doing kirtan, feeding them prasadam, giving them so much of love and care, their hearts changed. And they were ready to chant Hare Krishna mantra. And somehow, because his chanting was so pure, they 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 could experience some ecstasy through the holy name, and they started dancing and singing. Actually, because Prabhupada's chanting was so pure, that Hare Krishna mantra touched their hearts and they became purified. So that is also, we've got all these advanced techniques, very sublime and subtle, which can penetrate through a person, even if they are not really interested in spiritual life. But this is here, he is talking about those yogis, who have tried to advance in Krishna consciousness through the process of yoga. In their next life, they are automatically attracted to yoga, even without seeking them, because they've already done it. It's there in their consciousness. But for Hare Krishna mantra, it doesn't require anything. No qualification required. Just that somehow you're fortunate. And devotees, that's where devotees need to go everywhere and give this mercy to everyone. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no qualification required. Even if you have never done anything, even if you are only engaged in all materialistic, animalistic things, even then, that is the mercy. In Africa, when Prabhupada had sent one of the sannyasis, Brahmananda Maharaj at that time, so he went there, and along with a group of devotees, they were doing kirtan, Hare Krishna chanting, but their level of, their lifestyle was so polluted. They even, they would drink blood. They killed, old man, a grandfather, they would kill him and eat. That kind of very savage kind of, very, very, amazing kind of their lifestyle was. And so he reported to Prabhupada that we are chanting and chanting, but no devotees are getting formed. What do we do? Prabhupada said, okay, what you do for them, you just chant Panchatattva mantra. Panchatattva mantra is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, who are very, very merciful. They've come here just to elevate the most fallen. So you just sing Panchatattva mantra. And they did it. And then in his next visit, Prabhupada went shortly after, and he was amazed. There was temples, and then there were African brahmacharis following all the 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds. Can you imagine? What a big change it happened. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is such that you don't need any qualification at all. simply by their mercy. That's why we emphasize on chanting the Pancha Tattva mantra first before chanting Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj, he's as old as Jayaptak Swami, he mentions that once a person came running to him and he said that I've been chanting Hare Krishna mantra for so many years, but I don't feel any joy out of it. I'm just chanting it as a duty, but I'm not feeling any happiness, ecstasy. Why is that? So then, our Guru Maharaj, he's told him that you chant the Panchatattva mantra before you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and then you tell me. So he went, and after 2-3 days, he came running back to him. Swamiji, it works. It really works. I'm feeling so much bliss now in chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So even though he was chanting for so long Hare Krishna mantra, it gave him some, maybe his sins were getting burnt out, all those good things would have happened. But he was not feeling the joy that we get during kirtans. We want to sing and dance and feel so much happiness and ecstasy out of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. In fact, a japa also should be like that. And when will it happen? When we chant, when we take shelter of Panchatattva, because they don't accept any offense. You can do anything. They just see whatever good you have in what, that much they accept. Because Nityananda Prabhu was struck on his head by Jagai and by Madai, and he forgave him and he gave him mercy and he elevated him. That is their mood. Even if they're offensive, they don't consider that offense and simply try to elevate. So that is the speciality we have. We don't have to worry, oh, what did I do? Have I done enough in my previous life? You don't have to worry. We can simply get, by Gaur-Nitai's mercy, whatever level we want to get, however fast we want to do, we can get the complete mercy. Prayatnat yatamanas yogi samshuddha kilbisha aneka janma samsiddhas tato yati param gatim. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Just imagine, after purification, it takes many, many births of practice, finally to get the supreme goal. A person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Yeshantva antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavritaha. After many, many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this is the ultimate. A person who's trying through other processes, finally he comes to Krishna consciousness. And here in Bhakti Yoga and the process taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are starting from the ultimate stage, Krishna consciousness. We are starting from that. There is no need of going step by step like in the other processes. We are starting from the topmost process, which is simply doing bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. This is the 9 processes of bhakti. And we are starting from the topmost platform, which the yogis achieve after many, many births of elevation. So we should really be so grateful to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for elevating us without any difficulty. Because he knows in Kali Yuga, nobody is going to do all this Ashtanga Yoga, and people's lives are also very short. How much can they progress? It takes a lot of time. Those days in Satya Yuga, people lived for 1 lakh years. Treta Yuga, 10,000 years. Dwapara Yuga, 1,000 years. And now 100 years also, hardly. Uh, some people live maybe almost like 80, 90 years in their 90s, but still, it's not enough. I mean, first of all, very distracted. Nobody is interested in such tapasyas and so on. Oh, so he says, impossible. And Kali Yuga is going to get worse and worse. So Krishna, in his very merciful form, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has given us such a easy process that everyone can do it. There's nobody who can say it's very difficult for me to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Everyone and anyone can do it. So that is his mercy. And from the topmost stage, he is giving us Krishna consciousness, which is the highest perfectional stage from which you can go up very fast. And plus his mercy, why even Bhakti Yoga can take a long time, a few more births, because of our offenses. Our mind is very offensive. We are offensive towards God or towards other Vaishnavas and other living entities, because our mind is so polluted, always very selfish and puffed up. We try to find fault with others because of our false ego. We commit many, many offenses. We don't respect people enough, like that. And so a progress can be delayed. That is the one thing which can check our progress. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that 2 things can check your progress in Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, Bhakti Yoga is just, you just keep doing, your graph is just upward. There is no falling down. Bhakti Yoga is very, very strong because it's protection given by Krishna. He will protect our devotional creeper. But 2 things which can come in the way and which can destroy our bhakti. One is Vaishnava Aparad. Either you hurt somebody, a Vaishnava, or you speak ill of him even behind his back, or you do some harm to him, so that is Vaishnava Aparad. That will have very serious consequences. The more advanced the Vaishnava is, the more severe the consequences. And what will be the punishment? The punishment is we will lose taste in devotional service, in chanting. Gradually, our devotional life will get dried up. So that mercy which Krishna is freely giving, we should not misuse it and then try to harm other Vaishnavas, especially. That's the first one. Second one is to, if you become too attached to material sense gratification, in spite of hearing, I mean, we should be, in spite of hearing so many messages about the same, which is the last offense of the 10 offenses, the 10th offense, to continue to maintain material attachments, even in spite of hearing so many instructions against this. So, what happens? If we are progressive, then it's okay. You'll not fall down. Nobody is perfect from the beginning. So, we may have some material attachments, that's fine. But if we are progressive, gradually we are sincerely trying to elevate our consciousness, and gradually, bit by bit, we are dropping off those whatever attachments, then it's fine. We'll only be progressive. But we don't even make an attempt, and we just let it be as it is. I'll just do these things, and then I'll also maintain this, and I'll also have that. If you have that kind of a deceptive mentality, then it's very dangerous, because some little, because Maya is always waiting. Something can ensnare us, and then we lose taste in Krishna consciousness. We won't make a headway in be progressive, and then material life will seem more attractive, and we leave it and go. So these are the 2 dangers. Otherwise, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna completely protects the devotee, and nobody can take away that wealth in the devotee. So after many, many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So this is the highest perfection. And bhakti also. Initially, we are doing Mishra Bhakti. That means it is not unalloyed. It is mixed with so many material desires. And when we, you know, elevate our consciousness more and more in the mode of goodness, and we drop off all these passionate desires to enjoy something, even by doing devotional service. I'm doing it for Krishna, but I'm expecting some return. So that is not pure devotional service. So initially, our devotional service is also mixed. But as we progress by chanting, we understand what's my true position is to be a servant of Krishna, to give him pleasure. That only will satisfy my soul. When we do devotional service in that mood, that is pure devotional service. And in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So we have to increase our love for Krishna. Then we will naturally do like that. When we love someone, we don't mind taking some trouble for them, isn't it? For example, a mother, once the child is born, then so many sleepless nights, so many times she can't take her meals on time. She's always has to keep looking after the baby, feeding it. And, it's a lot of work. And especially because maybe before, before the child was born, she was self-indulgent, doing everything for herself and going out. And suddenly you have to give up so many things. But if you tell the mother, oh, your child, what a problem. No, all the time and taking all your attention. You're not even be able to go out anywhere. And all the time it's taking your attention. She'll get very upset. She says, don't say like that. My child is very nice. She wouldn't, because she loves the child. She doesn't think it's a great austerity to do it. Similarly, only because we don't know Krishna, then everything seems very difficult. Oh, I have to give up this also. I should not eat onion. I should not eat garlic. Oh, how many do's, don'ts. A person will think until he knows Krishna. Then once you know about Krishna, then you think, oh, that's all. These small things I can easily give up. It's not a big deal. I have to offer every time to Krishna. If you don't know Krishna and you don't love him, you'll think, oh, this is too much. Yaar. Every time before eating, I have to offer Krishna and eat. Hey, this is so that is when you don't know him. And as you hear about him, and as you hear about our real, original relationship with him, and so on, then, and you like devotees also, somehow the heart becomes softer and you love Krishna. Then you think, yes, I want to eat only things which are offered to Krishna. And we take so much difficulty, even while traveling, we try to see how to find things, how to make sure that our food can be offered to Krishna and have that we take go karme a yogi is greater than an ascetic. And in all circumstances, be a yogi. When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it's called Karma Yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it's called Jnana Yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it's called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it's better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work,
I need to read.
and fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga. And this is still more clearly explained in the next verse. So that's why he's saying a yogi is greater than the ascetic. Ascetic means some people who just do tapasya. They'll sit on the nails, a bed of nails, or they'll keep, when you especially go near the Himalayas, you'll see such yogis who are just putting their hands up all the time, raising it, or, doing such physical difficulties they take. But if they don't know for whom they are doing all this, you know, then it's no use. What's the use of torturing your body like that? Maybe because of the tapasya, they get purified, no doubt, of sense gratificatory tendencies. So it helps, but it's not yoga yet. It's not linking with the Supreme. So a yogi is greater than an ascetic. If the ascetic has not got any, connection with God, greater than the empiricist, a jnana yogi, he may be acquiring a lot of knowledge, but he has no devotion to God. So that is also not perfect. And greater than the fruitive worker or karmi, who wants to enjoy the results of his this thing, results of his work. And so a karmi without yoga, without Krishna consciousness, that's also a waste of time. If he's a karma yogi, okay, that's okay. But and fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. So, and therefore, the most highly praised of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. This becomes very clear in the next verse that he is actually talking about only Bhakti Yoga. You may say, oh, maybe he means Ashtanga Yogi. No, here he is very clear. Okay, this is a, will you do that? It's a long purport. Okay, I think quickly do it. And of yoginamapi sarvesham madghaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajati yomam same yukta tamo matah. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That's my opinion. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the word bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms this as follows. Ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram Na bhajanti avajananti sthanad brashtaha patanti adaha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. So most of the people, so bhajanti, bhaja, we know bhajan means to glorify the Lord. And here Krishna is saying, yoginam api sarvesham mat gaten antaratmana. Who is the sarvesham, yoginam, who is the best among all the others? Mad gaten antaratmana, one who keeps me within his heart. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, with full faith, he is rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. So such a person is the topmost yogi. And it's saying that worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. And so service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the material world, we have to respect, honorable people. But even if somebody doesn't do that, it's okay. We might think he's just discourteous. We may neglect that person. But somebody who neglects Supreme Personality of Godhead, with whom we are directly linked, what happened? Such an atheist is completely condemned, isn't it? Nobody likes to even, in the Shastras, it said that you should not even look at an atheist's face. Or if you see, you should go jump into the river and purify yourself. It's so horrible and, very impure. It's very sinful just to see such a person. And thus, every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. What a precarious state, isn't it? If one does not worship the Lord and render service to him, one is going to fall down further and degraded births. And that's why it's such a precarious state. There are, I've heard the story from His Holiness Jayaptak Swami, how it is like, a boy flying a kite. Okay. He is on top of on the terrace without any parapet walls. Okay. And he's so busy flying the kite, and he's coming near the edge of the roof. He's about to fall down, and somebody is telling him, watch out, you're going to fall down. And that person is, least interested in listening. And then what does this person do? He goes up and he pulls him out and says, he is, because the boy is more interested in looking at the kite. He's thinking, oh, my kite, there are other kites being flown there, and I don't want it to be cut by somebody else's string. He's more worried about all that. But he's going to fall down and die. And this person, this well-meaning person rushes up, goes and pulls the boy. And the boy gets very angry and he starts hitting him. Why did you stop my, it was the most crucial moment. And see, now I've lost the game. Hare, you're going to lose your life now. Look what would have happened to you. So that is how we should try to save people, because they don't know what is happening. They don't know anything. They're just totally busy doing some temporary things and fully engrossed in that, not knowing what is going to happen to them at death. So that is why this is the most important thing. I'm not doing the full purport because it's a long one, and we'll do it in a proper way. So tomorrow we can continue with that. Are there any questions or comments?